this is Joli from QuickSilverHair, and today I wanted to share with you my 5 top things not to do while you're going gray. I will start this off by saying, hey, everybody can break the rules. So don't consider these rules, just consider them fair warnings. And, there's a caveat to everything. There's always that person who can do something totally drastic to their hair and they love it and they don't care and it didn't damage their hair. But on the other side of that, there are those who try to do something like that and end up with a chemical haircut. So this is just kind of some of my fair warnings. Not all of it is about that drastic of a thing, but without further introduction, let's get to it and you'll understand what I'm talking about. So number 1, do not take advice from beauty supply employees. Now I understand that in some of these stores, they are trained stylists, they are trained and they have their licenses and they work in these stores so that they can learn products. Those are not the people I'm talking about. I am talking about people who arbitrarily give you advice just to sell you a product or just to help you. For instance, I went into a beauty supply store early in my transition looking for someone that could help me blend the red on the ends of my hair to not be so drastic against my natural color. And this young man kept saying, you need green, you need green, you need to dye your hair green. And it took me a little while to understand that what he actually meant was that I needed ash. And on the color wheel, red is opposite green. So green neutralizes red and red neutralizes green. But what he meant is that I needed an ash color to tone down the red. However, he was actually telling me to dye it an ash color. And that's not where I wanted to go with my transition, so I walked away from that interaction. And I've also seen many people in the groups that I am involved with and support other women through this transition. I have seen many of them go to the beauty supply and come away with bleach and toner and go home and try to do it themselves, and it just turns into a whole disaster. So if you want to have help with your blending, go to a stylist. Find one that knows color. Don't go to the beauty supply store. Which takes me to my second point. Number 2, things to consider before you bleach your hair to gray. You want to consider the health of your hair overall. And a really good stylist who knows color and knows how color damages the hair will take these things into consideration before they even allow you to do a bleaching blending process. You have fine hair, thin hair, curly hair, damaged hair, scalp conditions, hair loss. You can see where I'm going. You don't want to bleach your hair. And if you have really dark hair, you may want to reconsider this, because the darkest color in the color strip for hair color is a number 1, which is black, and 12 is platinum. It takes a healthy transition from black to platinum. You can only do it 2 shades at a time. So in those 12 shades, you would have to do 6 bleachings to achieve that platinum or close to that platinum. But that platinum is never going to be platinum white. It is going to have a yellow tint to it because you can only lift the color to a certain degree synthetically, right? So you can only use a synthetic agent like bleaches and peroxide to pull that color out, and they will leave the strand yellow. That is why you have to have toner to tone it to look silver. If you have strong hair, if you have dense hair, if you have really healthy hair and you've bleached it before, no problem. Just find a really good stylist to help you achieve that. And know that no matter what agents they put in it, bond builders, whatever, it will still damage your hair. There's no non-damaging bleach process for hair because it has to damage the hair to lift the cuticle and pull that color off. That's just a simple fact of the matter, unfortunately. And I really wish that that was better understood when you sit down in the chair and get this processing done, because many people regret doing it months later because of all the damage that is done to their hair. So they do end up cutting it a lot of times to cut the damage off. So just keep that one in mind. Number 3, do not use DIY remedies to strip the color from your hair. When you use these remedies, you can alter the pH of your hair permanently, and the only way to change that is to grow it off. So essentially, you're ditching the dye and you want to grow the dye off, and then you damage it with a DIY recipe that you've found online or whatever. But essentially, when you use vitamin C, dandruff shampoo, peroxide, baking soda, dishwashing detergent, and you mix any of those together, it creates a pH imbalance when you put it on your hair, and that pH imbalance can permanently damage your hair. The products that you can buy for color stripping at the drugstore and the beauty supply can also damage your hair, drying it out immensely. Most of the time they only turn your dye some orangey, weird, brassy color that you probably weren't wanting to achieve in the first place. The key here, the thing you want to keep in mind, is that your natural color is no longer underneath that dye. If you have used semi-permanent, demi-permanent, or permanent hair dye, this is key, your hair is permanently altered. Semi-permanent will stain your hair, even though it says it washes out. Usually, most of them have a little bit of a lifting agent in them to deposit the color so that it actually holds. Now, over 6 weeks or 8 weeks or whatever they say the length of it is, it's going to fade. It's not going to be the same color it was when you started. That's why it's semi-permanent. Demi-permanent is similar, except that it's a couple of agents mixed together, and permanent is permanent. So in the permanent dyes are, they are made to completely alter the color of your hair and stay on the hair. So you can't take a product like Color Oops or vitamin C or dandruff shampoo and fade all that off to return to your natural color. Your natural color is no longer in there. So please avoid those. I wish I could get that message across the interwebs so that people stop damaging their hair with pH imbalancing products. Number 4, pick your battle. Okay. So this is what I mean. I think a lot of people, they kind of go, that's it. I'm going to ditch the dye and I'm going to grow my hair out long and it's going to be curly. And then they get frustrated. So this was something I had to decide to do. I wanted long silver hair. That was my choice. But my hair was probably around here when I decided to ditch the dye. And I had permanent red dye on my hair. So eventually I got a really good shortcut, which you can learn all about my transition. I'll put the video link below. But I decided to embrace a bad shortcut and just keep it about that short throughout my transition. And then as soon as the last bit of the dye was done, I grew it out because I realized I could not achieve both things at the same time because it was just this recipe for disaster for me. So when I say pick your battle, I mean, pick the thing you want to achieve first. So for me, it was ditching the dye. Okay, I ditched the dye. Now I got to grow it all off. And then I will grow out the length of my hair. Now, there are some people who have long hair and they just keep it long and they grow it out. My hair needed to be cut because I had been putting so much permanent dye on it for so long that it was just healthier for me to cut that off and, keep it shorter for the time it took me to grow all the dye off. I think you get what I'm saying. The other thing I see people do is try to embrace their curls while they're ditching the dye, which is fine. Go ahead. But if you're going to add curly girl method to it, you might want to reconsider that because curly girl method can complicate things quite a bit if your curls are changing as they grow out, which many people find that their hair texture changes as their dye grows out. So again, pick your battle. You might want to pick the battle that says, I'm going to embrace the curly girl method and see what happens. And in that point, you would be focusing on the curls, but know that they will change as your dye is cut off. I think picking your battle helps you to just have a less frustrating transition, which brings me to the next point. Okay, number 5, avoid drastic and desperate decisions. Be patient. You're going to hit marks during this transition where you are going to feel really impatient. You're not going to like your hair. You're going to wish it was over. You know, I like to talk about that it's usually around the 9-month mark because women are programmed to wait 9 months. And if you've ever been pregnant, you know that when you hit the 9-month mark, that nesting phase happens and you're ready, you're done, you're ready to have the baby, you're ready for this process to be over. And I think everybody kind of reaches that point at 9 months, 8 to 9 months with the transition, and they get impatient. They make drastic decisions like trying to bleach it overnight and then regretting it because maybe they've grown out this much hair and then they ruin it with dye. Or chopping it off and wishing that they hadn't chopped it all off because they don't like their hair short. Before you make a drastic decision, especially with a haircut or dye, I'm going to give you this little piece of advice that used to work with me and my stylist. So when I was ready to make a drastic change with my hair, I had this great stylist for many, many years. She always wanted to protect me from, doing something drastic or desperate that I would regret. Our agreement was when I wanted to make some drastic change, like maybe I wanted to chop off my hair or maybe I wanted to dye it a different color or whatever, I would call her and I would make an appointment for 2 weeks away. And during that 2 weeks, I would take notes about how I felt about this drastic decision that I wanted to make. So for instance, let's say I wanted to cut my hair. And every day I would take note of, did I want to cut my hair? Do I still want to cut my hair? And at the 2-week appointment, I would have a clearer picture of, did I want to cut my hair? Was that going to be okay with me? And if that, I would go to the appointment, and if that was the decision I had made, that's what we would do. If I had changed my mind and I had not stuck with that decision the entire 2 weeks, we would do my normal thing and I would carry on. 2 weeks, it's easy to wait 2 weeks. And you would be surprised how quickly you change your mind in 2 weeks and how often you change your mind in 2 weeks. So give that one a shot if you're feeling a little desperate or drastic decisions are popping up in your head, like shaving your head or doing a pixie or bleaching it overnight or whatever the case may be. So my final tip, which is a bonus, is do not throw away all of your clothes and makeup while you are in transition. I made this mistake and I wish I had not done it. I thought that I needed to get rid of all the brown in my closet. Turns out I have brown hair still under here that is my natural brown. And I had some beautiful rich brown clothing that still looked fabulous with my hair color. And I got rid of all of it. I packed up everything I had that was beige, cream, brown, whatever, and I sent it off to Goodwill. And I really wish I had not done that because I had some quality pieces that I loved and had had for many years, and they're gone. And I didn't need to do that. So hold off on tossing out makeup and clothes until you're fully transitioned, because some of those things match your skin tone and your natural hair color, and you just didn't realize you were doing it. So they may still work now. I mean, sure, you might have some colors like beige. Okay, beige was not good for me anymore. I can't wear beige at all, which is fine. But I do like a winter white, which is a little bit on the cream side. And I can get away with that because I do have a champagne tone to my hair because of the brown that's mixed in. And my brown makeups, my brown eyeshadow, my peach eyeshadow, that was all still fine. It still looks great because it looked good on my skin tone. So the colors that you wear really should match your skin tone anyways. And that's where I think my mistake is not realizing that I was wearing things that looked good against my skin. Except for beige. Beige actually didn't look good on my skin, but because I had red hair, it kind of worked. So that is my final little bonus tip. sure, you can take all of those clothes and set them aside, maybe box them up, have them ready to go, and then reevaluate. It's not a big deal to hold on to them for the couple of years it takes before you've fully transitioned, if you're doing it the long way, and see what your natural color actually looks like with those colors. Also, on that note, gold versus silver jewelry seems to be a big topic, that if you have silver hair, you should wear silver jewelry. Nope. Gold and silver still is part of your skin tone. It's whatever looks good on your skin tone. I always wear silver. I have always worn silver because I have a cool skin tone. I have never worn gold. I don't like the way it looks on my skin. However, my mom can wear silver and gold with her white hair, and she still does. So don't toss all your gold either. Hang on to that stuff, because you might regret that you've tossed it afterwards, because you may find that it will be just fine. So that's it for me today, and until next time, shine on.